this is one, it helps keep a record of what we do, but also we have a wider community, whether we understand it or not. We got people in New Jersey, we got people in Atlanta, we got people all over that's looking for something that we have here. And I think that we need to, one, realize that and realize our power. Second, that's what I wanted to ask, because
so that's a good segue into discussing more in depth Perunk that we had 2 Sundays ago. The basic topic was, how do you use the Healer, Builder, Warrior past activity workshops as a springboard to engage the community for more participation and involvement, including the ancestral celebration, the Umoja Karamu, which we did not discuss, and Kwanzaa, and how did these events stimulate you? And we had a lot of positive responses. We then asked the question, what do you think about the possibility of using this workshop? We were talking about the Healer Builder workshops. What do you think about the possibility of using this workshop to engage our community? Is there a better way in which we can utilize this information to engage the community without a workshop? And Tim, you brought up the cultural tax. So if you could give a more in-depth discussion of that as a possible way, because we were talking about whether or not we should charge people.
Right.
Okay.
If the group of us, which Tawi is already doing, but if we was to extend it to the larger Columbus community, if we all was to put in a certain amount per month, there would be money there for us to be able to bring somebody in for workshops or so a cultural tax. You can't have it. Going back, she had the Kroger analogy. You can't have a community if you don't control the food. And you got to have some economic resources. So we have to be serious about that and intentional about letting people know that part of being part of this, you have to be willing to sacrifice. As I said, in African Openness, the Tree of Life, they talk about the second proverb. It says, those who are not willing to sacrifice will not be fulfilled. And as a community for a long time, it's almost like we've been dependent on other people to finance our struggle. And I don't think that's culturally appropriate. And same thing with the Kroger piece. All of us got backyards, but we're not growing no food. But I'm sorry. But it's something that's needed. People have to tax themselves. Hey, we was taxing ourselves in the villages. Because in order for a village to exist, there has to be resources. And it don't just have to be money, but there has to be something there that's exchangeable. And I don't think we got that.
I have a problem with the generalities. And I hear it in this group and I hear it in lots of other groups where we always start by, as it were, putting ourselves down. You said, we all have backyard and we don't grow. The reality is, I don't know if you grow. I grow. But we keep repeating these stereotypical things that the bigger culture box us in, and we say them over and over. We say, our kids are bad, or we keep repeating those, and we cannot move forward if we keep embracing the negativity rather than bringing up our own truth and our own greatness.
Now to that.
When you finish.
Okay. That's my one point. Second point, I don't have anything against what you call it, the cultural tax, but I know that for any organization, any group to grow, sometimes you really have to go outside and you have to be more planful. And we thought about becoming a nonprofit so that we can tap into money that's available. It's not our money, but it's available And I've been in organizations that, we used to all pull out our money, but over the years, the reality is if we wanted the program to grow, we had to tap into other resources. And once we became a nonprofit, there's all sort of money that we can tap into. So, look at the bigger picture rather than just, I don't know how many of us is in this organization, just us forking out $20 or whatever every time.
Now, the reason I use generalities, because oftentimes we have a veil that we present. Out of the room, the minority said that they grow. So am I really using a generality, or am I dealing with a reality? You know what I'm saying? So a majority of people that's listening, how many of them grow? Is it the majority or is it the minority? Because I have to be able to look at stuff from my position of 600 kids. We shut down the Kroger's, and there's nothing in that community for them kids to go to or their families to go to because we don't control anything. So the generality is, as a people, as a majority, we do not grow, especially when 96% of the land that is owned the rural land that is owned in this country is owned by others, not by us. It's owned by others. They control 96% of that. Now, and back to the point of the cultural tax, I'm not opposed to going outside and getting money, because I honestly believe that as black folks, we owed a lot of money here in America, and I want to get every last bit of it. But what I am opposed to is not having at least some type of matching funds from us as a group. You know what I'm saying? I know you weren't opposing that, but I want to make sure, because like Kwanzaa, the most incredible thing for Kwanzaa that passed this last year was that we raised $8,000 by tapping into us. And we had a marvelous celebration. Right now, with the Malcolm X celebration, we haven't put any outside money in. We got a budget of about $3,200. We raised over half of that just with the people in that room, and just with us asking those other people that were involved with us. What I've seen done with APDS was one of the things with APDS that I walked away. One of the lessons I walked away with is that because APDS,
excuse me,
I'm sorry,
Afrocentric
Personal, because APDS is totally funded by outside resources. APDS can't really be the Afrocentric Personal Development Shop. It's whatever's the hot topic in the drug place right now. And then we got to sprinkle Afrocentricity in when we can. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying we are not wealthy people. And the fact of the matter, when you look at the numbers, we're not doing well. But I think that we do have some resources that we could pull on. And when we start pulling on those, then I think we could be a little bit more comfortable when we ask others to contribute.
When this conversation first started, it was pointed out, and it sounded like everybody at the table agreed that we tend to do an either or thing. And we're doing it again. Right? Both ideas are good.
Exactly.
I got it. Remember the door.
But which one of the either or? So yeah, we don't do. We do both. We have to do both.
You can do both, but as far as where the money, getting grant money and all that's concerned, we just have to be firm in our understanding of what we're gonna do with the money, who we're gonna get the money from, and
organize.
Right. And that's it. Be firm in that.
But
see, the problem with it, if you're not firm, is that you're gonna get
somebody in the bathroom.
other
I just
people.
got it's locked. Anybody got a key? I'm sorry, I got a pee bag. It's another one?
Yeah.
All the way around.
Thank you.
Steps.
When you got to go, you got to go.
And your modesty about that. And he was, and we and we taping.
That's all I'm trying to get.
I'm telling
You know, these ideas all, but now you can see how easy it is for us to go right back to how we do. I don't care, you know, we get clear and we say, yeah, this is right, this is what we're gonna do, and then don't take 2 minutes.
So what does that mean? We're not really clear, or we're not not really clear? Because we have great discussions, and we have brilliant ideas put on the table. And my concern has always been we walk away without a plan. We'll talk about it, we'll hash it out, we have great ideas, and in the next meeting we talk about something different. We never leave saying this is so good that this is going to be working.
And what I noticed too is that, you know, everybody might take their individual notes, but you know, like you can go to some meetings and they'll have, you know, where you write down stuff, and then when you come back, it's a reminder, so you don't have to recreate that again. You can expand, but we never, you know, write on the board or write a piece, you know, on a piece of paper. You know, some of our
You
great.
go right. Start taking
Yeah.
notes now. Just
Okay.
get a pencil up there. Put it on the board.
But see, that's what happens. You know, we always get
But that board may be erased by the time you
well,
get back.
okay.
Let me ask you a question. You took notes and you told us what we did before.
Right.
Is there a way to send these notes to everybody?
Well, they're just my personal notes, so
Okay.
I didn't edit them and none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Do we have somebody designated as
That's what
a recorder or this? Okay,
We
Well,
don't.
like-
Now
Okay.
he's recording it, so it's there.
okay. So, but I'm saying, if we're an organization and we want to have our history or a record, it would be probably a good idea to have somebody that's designated to be the recorder and, you know, disseminate the minutes of what went on. I don't. That's structure. You know, it's just going to be structure, but it works so that next time we won't have to come back and say, you know, what did we do?
But next time it'll be a whole new topic.
But okay, and I hear you. And what I'm saying is, if we had somebody designated that's taken the notes, and at the end of the end of the session, we say, okay, today we discuss A, B, and C. The secretary can look and say, and we want to move forward on number 3.
Do that. I mean, Gye-Nyame.
And then, you know, okay, what steps do we? Number 3 is going to be our focus. What steps are we going to take next? Okay, we need to identify the population that we're going to serve. We're going to identify the funding. We're going to identify the site. I don't know. That's how I function.
Now, see, this is where I have a problem. Y'all know that's what we do.
Yeah.
We got a scribe.
That's
We have that. But we just let her just keep talking. Like, and ain't nobody saying nothing.
I thought she meant for this. She's talking about this
what I was
group
wondering.
here.
Well, this is not the right. This is not the meeting. This is the divine conversation where we discuss further what we did. So we really don't have to keep notes on this because we really don't handle business here. I don't think. But in the regular meeting, because she don't. And when we planning something or we doing something, we do have people that does all that.
And that's what
Okay. I'm new, so I'm likely to be very confused. You know, because I hear people saying we talk and we don't do anything. If this is supposed to be just a talking, then we're on target. Then we're on target.
So every gathering is an unassigned meeting.
I'll learn as I go.
Unless we as a group decide that was. I mean, I was thinking.
But that brings up. But she brings up a whole nother point.
Right.
A major issue is, for example, every community has a border. What's the border? Because when somebody coming in from the outside, how do they become part of this so that they can learn that this stuff goes on
And where you are.
and where you are? You see what I'm saying? So she's bringing up something because it's like, yo, I hear y'all, but you know, I thought this was all it. You know what I'm saying? She don't know the connection between Kwanzaa and Malcolm X Festival and some of the other stuff that we do. And the question is, how do people become part of who we are? How do people come so that when we talk about cultural tax, they like, I'm with it.
I got it.
Yeah, he like to rhyme. So that stuff does go on in the meeting, and this is more of a discussion and learning session where we expand on the philosophies that we get.
Or the topics that were discussed in the second segment. Basically, that's what the fourth segment.
My question.
And I think that's what Barbara West was saying earlier, that, how do people that's coming in, you remember, how do we know what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I'm new. I'm trying to figure out what's going
Right.
on, and I've come to this meeting, and I'm still trying to
Find your way. Right.
What's the difference?
It's sort of like we dropped you in a dark room and say, find the black candle that's not lit.
Worse than that is like the white people teaching your babies, and they go to your baby and they say, "Do you know what I know?"
Okay, I put up some things.
I'm going to use that black room, find the black candle. We can find the black candle in that room.
Okay, hey.
Okay.
But if you have the method,
That's right. That's what I thought we were talking about first.
right?
Because when we come to a meeting like this, first we have to do is define what it is. What is that near? What is the purpose?
Right.
Yeah, so in this particular case, you don't like Umoja, Kujichaga, Leah, I mean, I don't do like that. Ujaman, y'all, and Imani, you have to like, Neil, what is the purpose? Why are we here today, for this particular thing, and what is the definition on what is going to come out? So that's where we're, because everybody's sitting here with their own understanding of what it is we're supposed to, talk about. So that's where we were trying to,
But if we look, she got the list of what we're supposed to talk about. I mean, it's organized.
She meaning Mama Phyllis.
Mama Phyllis has.
And then she asked the question.
Right, and she because she got the notes. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, really.
And she gave the definition when she first started.
But one of the things we have that Chancellor Williams, when I reread or re-listened to Destruction of Black Civilization, one of the things that kind of separate us from a lot of other cultures were that as African people, we always had the right to dissent. And it's like, you could go your own way. I don't like what you're doing. I'm going to take my group of people and I'm going to move somewhere else and start another village. Now, the way the West Asians handle that, they call that treason and they kill you on sight. But we allow it. So even in our meetings, people could feel free to discuss whatever they need to at that point in time. And, and like I said, we're going to have to either get comfortable with that or we're going to have to eliminate that. So.
Well, would that be along the lines of, if we were all speaking with one voice, we wouldn't have that?
Well,
it's an either or.
Well, see, and this is the issue. The group doesn't speak with one voice. The person that represents the group speaks for the group.
That's what they didn't understand.
And building up to that one voice, you have this, where we dissent, where we debate. But then after we get done, when the designated spokesperson speaks for the group, what's even crazy, when you look in, like when I went to Ghana, we went to a village. There was a chief there. And the chief never addressed us.
No, not supposed to.
He never addressed us.
Right.
His translator or his second in command spoke for the chief and the village.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So the chief was just there.
And that's the protocol.
And the translator spoke. But the translator speaks on behalf of the chief, who speaks on behalf of the people. Now, we don't know what went on behind closed doors. All I know is that this translator dude is sitting up here talking to me. I say, oh, that's a dope position. But how do I know what he's thinking? I know what he's thinking because of what's coming out his mouth. So when we address in the community, we can't address the community like this. We need to have that one that's going up, that's representing, you know what I'm saying, that situation that's speaking. You know what I'm saying? So it's, and we kind of got that, but it's just not clear. But when new people come in,
So you're agreeing with
part of the
consensus?
way we came to address that was through consensus.
y'all stop hitting me with that consistency.
That's what you
This
just
is a
said.
conspiracy.
That's what you just said.
The group does
That's
not
counter
speak
what
with
you-
one voice. We don't speak with one voice. But when this person goes up to speak for us, she is speaking one voice for the group.
For the group.
Consensus.
That
Okay.
they will give me that in
Okay.
in
Well,
a
that's what I was understanding when
proverb.
I said.
But be clear.
That's what I-
Be clear.
Be
that
clear.
be clear that the presiding elder is not making the decision.
Right. The group made the
Right.
decision.
The group
And that's the
made
reason why you
decision.
don't have the either or.
right
Correct.
That's what I meant.
because
That was my
the,
understanding.
the proverb that we
Better not.
use for that
Better not.
is from a distance. The forest looks like it's one, but when you go up into the forest, you see that there are different trees and different bushes with different growths. But that representative of the forest from a distance is what.
And like he
Well,
says, when we move as one.
But first of all, we would have to
You take
decide
the ball
in
and
the
go
beginning
somewhere else.
if this is that kind of meeting that one person is going to come out of this meeting and speak for this body. Most of the time when we meet, that's not the case.
Right.
Because we're still meeting as, from what I understand, is meeting as somebody else's group. That's not my group. I don't think
Okay.
that's
The 12 one's
ownership.
up there, right?
Just for clarification, okay, so this is divine conversation. We don't make decisions, we don't make plans, we just talk. Is that it?
That's
That's it.
saying that.
Is that it, period?
Yes.
Okay,
Also, it is to give clarity or help us be clearer or go deeper in what was presented at Paran.
This is church.
Okay.
Paran had a topic or
I want to say it's
a
church.
savayet, which is a conversation, a speech, a lesson. That's what Paran is supposed to be about, giving some type of a spiritual lesson. And then to go farther on that lesson, because a lot of times at Paran, you don't have the opportunity to ask questions because someone's presenting. But this is a place where you have that conversation around what was presented.
And that's
Boy,
You got him using the middle of a statement.
no, I think
He's such a Pisces. Damn.
that's okay, let him be, let him be him.
So does that help a little bit more?
I
That
got
was
explicit.
the original intent.
Okay, well,
I'm
this
trying.
is
I'm working.
and this is my area of confusion, because okay, if that's the intent, we are like
We're off topic.
we're off to problem
That's what I was
solving
saying.
and planning, and that's not it.
That's not what we see.
And so we're kind of,
But our last Sabayet was about reflecting on events that had occurred earlier in the year and how those events can be used with the warrior, healer, builder theme that Paran has had for this, 62, whatever, for this year, from August 1 to August to now. So that's what.
but when you start talking about how can it, then you move from conversation to planning.
And in this particular instance, because we had a panel and we're talking about events that we do annually, this particular Paran was a little different in that we are asking them to provide ways in which we can improve. And so I am taking notes from the conversation to pass on to those different chairpersons of those events so that they can become stronger and better. But normally, that's not the way you do that. So this particular one is a little different.
I have to get up and down
I
because
understand.
the longer I sit, the
Stiffen.
arthritis, it stiffens up. So that's why I like pop it up and go down. Okay, thank you.
Like
So the next
New biscuits.
question to the panelists was, how do you see this particular? This was about ancestral celebration. How do you see this celebration as a springboard to get in our community to honor our ancestors? And Brother Hatem, you talked about the toast that you do annually, and that we should be pouring
No.
the libation
Morning.
to our. Morning. That we should be pouring libation to our family ancestors and our own relatives, and that blood was thicker than water, but spirit was thicker than blood.
Right.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
Well, one of the things that I noticed in libations all over the country is that a lot of people focus on pouring and celebrating people that were not directly linked to them. And the major influence on me, although Malcolm inspired me, Malcolm didn't feed me. Malcolm didn't teach me or was patient with me to learn how to walk or sat at the table with me and taught me how to read, or introduced me to systems that made it possible for me to graduate from college. That was something that was done by my grandmother and my grandfather, and they passed on. So one of the things that I was pushed to do was to start celebrating them. And in doing shows, I said, well, hell, we might as well do one where I help people celebrate their ancestors on a daily basis. This is not a weekly show. This is not a bi-weekly show. This is something that we need to start doing as a people every day, because when we start pouring for those that was closest to us, we start realizing, and in some cases remembering, the sacrifices that was made for us to be where we are directly. You know what I'm saying? Not 6 people away, but directly what was done for us, which means now I'm able to focus. So in that libations, I pour for the Creator first, then I jump straight to our ancestors. And from there, I move to the present moment. And then you start realizing, well, damn, in their present moment, they was making sure that I was able to survive. I have a responsibility to the direct lineage that come from me. You know what I'm saying? So for part of the ancestral piece is it needs to be a daily thing so that we can always, we got to remind ourselves, because this world teaches us and teaches our kids that it's about getting money, and it's about us. But I'm at an age now where it's no longer about me. I'm concerned about what's going to be left for my kids. And so I'm trying to remind people, especially those, I call them daily toasters. You see, I got my little shirt on. Call them daily toasters, that everything when we building is for the legacy. And that starts with us remembering who made sacrifices for us. Who made sacrifices for us directly. And that's where I was with that.
Jill, would you care to comment on that question? Your comment was about pour every morning to personal and start the day with personal ancestors.
Read the question again.
How do you see this particular celebration as a springboard to getting our community to honor their ancestors?
Yeah, the celebration, you mean the ancestral
The ancestral celebration.
Tim really summed it up, because it's that work. I mean, he talked about how to do the work. I said to do it, and he talked about the method of how to do it. I think the only other thing would be then, once you do it, then what do you glean from it? How does that guide your day? How does that help you with the work? And I don't think that Hatem got to that part of the use of the daily toast or the use of libation daily, because there's utility in it as well. And that's the power in doing it, is the utility of it once it's done. To do things for the sake of doing them can become routine and lose their effect and intent. So I would add to that then the utility of that ritual in your day, in your planning and in what you're doing.
Brother Renee, you had said that we can instill into the kids the importance of pouring libations? You want to answer that?
First of all, we have to tear down Western way of thinking from the top to the bottom. When I came in here, I believed in certain things just like everybody else. I call out on my grandmother, my ancestors, and all that. Okay, but some of their rituals that they had was not theirs. It was just that we were guided by a good spirit, education, whatever. So when I came in here to this program here, when I understood that anybody that celebrates pagan holidays can't tell me nothing, and I mean that wholeheartedly. If you still celebrating Christmas, if you still celebrating Easter, if you still celebrating all these other holidays and putting that just much money into that and less money when we got to ask for it in here about the Malcolm X celebration, about Kwanzaa, how much money are you donating to that? You understand? So how much time have you donated to that? It was cruel in my household because I didn't have a Christmas tree in there. You understand what I'm saying? We celebrate Kwanzaa every year. My children have never seen a Christmas tree, and it's a good thing because my daughters and all my grandchildren will not celebrate that or any other pagan holiday. So no elder that I can feel that can try to say something to me, period, until they work on those guidelines, their questions are not even valid to me, or either trying to question me, because it's hypocritical that you can sit back and still celebrate pagan holidays and then trying to do what Hatim and we trying to work the Kwanzaa. We trying to work that, but we still on this side. So that means that something's wrong at the top, or anybody that does that trying to say something to me. And I have a very, very, I don't feel good about it. That's, to me, it's not a question. You understand? So you want to ask me this question about what should we do? The problem is, what should you do? What have you done? How are you misleading people? I ain't talking about an individual. I'm talking about anybody in here that celebrates those pagan ass holidays. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
So how would you relate that to our ancestral celebration? Economically, I would show them where their money is going. You understand? If they put their money in, like how Tim and us came up with the idea of the Aguza Saba each day, and we learned how to de-niggerize the Negro. You understand what I'm saying? If you want to get franked about that. So he comes up, he don't use the word Friday. He uses certain words that what we're supposed to use. And so we have to de-dog the dog, or however you want to say it, or de-dog the Negro. You understand what I'm saying? So how do we do that? How do we go by doing that? We can stop false representing people and let people that's trying to put the work in, let them do it.
Problem on the table is how to de-dog the dog.
That's right.
Yeah, I like that.
If you can de-dog the dog, you can make the dog back into a dog. But we've already understood that. You understand? De-niggerize the nigger. Make him into an African. That's what I'm trying to do.
So our next topic that we dealt with was Kwanzaa. And we asked for recommendations, given that this year's Kwanzaa was very successful. We talked about recommendations to take it to its next level. And again, Tim started talking about practicing 365 every day and changing the days of the week, using the Nguzo Saba as the days, with the week starting on Monday. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah,
the
week starts on Monday.
Push-ups,
man.
Right.
Oh,
That's what's
Moja. Starting on the Moja.
I've been working on a calendar.
Right. Well, we got a calendar. Because like each day has a principle
And a color.
It has the day name,
That's right.
It has the meiotic principle. It has the hermetic law.
That's right.
That all are associated with each one of those days. And part of that challenge is to get people to start looking for that. There's this, we as human beings to survive, we have to develop the ability to focus. There's this piece in the brain called the reticular formation that makes it possible for you to be able to focus on one thing because there's so much information coming in. So far as hunters or warriors, when I was given an assignment, I was able to focus on what it was I was trying to kill or catch. Other than that, you would be like a child with ADHD. I'm going after the rabbit, a yak run by, now I'm chasing the yak. You know what I'm saying? Now that something else moved by, I'm chasing that. But as human beings, we develop this thing. It's an actual physical piece called the reticular formation that allows us to be able to focus on what we're looking for. So part of the Nguza Saba challenge is for the period of time that you're doing it, or if you're doing it every day, to go out and seek those principles. So on Umoja, I'm looking for examples of Umoja in our community because we have been programmed to look for everything in a sense, as we were saying, either or looking for the negative. And unfortunately, we can't blame the West Asian for that. That is a natural human thing because what we got to understand, there was a time where if I didn't catch that one negative thing in my environment, that one negative thing would take my life. You understand what I'm saying? So we have been evolved, if you believe in evolution, or we was created, however you want to say it, to be able to see the negatives. And that's what we do. Because at one point in time, that was how we survived. I had to be able to notice that funny colored snake. I had to be able to notice when something in the bushes was moving wrong. And that had to be laid down as the most important thing at that time. So what I'm saying is activate the reticular formation now because we're in a more controlled environment and start using it to find our principles. It finds where it's being practiced so that we can take Kwanzaa and turn it into that 365 thing. So, and then also I want to go back to the D-dog the dog. How to D-dog the dog. When you D-dog a dog, what does it become?
It's not a dog.
What is it? What is it?
Whoever if you take a dog and put it on the breast of a sheep and you take him from his mother, all he knows is the sheep.
Is the sheep.
Right.
But if you D-dog the dog, what you get is what a dog was before it was created. Dogs were not first. Wolves were.
That's right.
So a dog is basically a domesticated wolf. And we have been domesticated. We got to understand that. Just like the cows, we've been domesticated. So we got to come up with methods of bringing back the wild part of ourselves. Even though that might, wild might not be a
wild is appropriate because it means WILD. Wisdom, intelligence, leadership, and discipline.
Damn. Excuse me.
Can I ask one question? So when Hatem said that, when our ancestors were in Kemet and they seen what they want to call the Sphinx, Imaketi, Haru, Imaketi, and his posture was as an animal. You understand what I'm saying? But he had that nature, still had the nature inside of him, even though he kept it up under check. But he could bring it up out of there at any time because he still knew that he was a lion or whatever he was in that profile. That he still had those symptoms in him, So when we sit back and think that it's going to be, leadership,
and discipline.
So
Brother Alumni, I saw your hand up, but I wanted to ask Brother Hatem the possibility, the calendar that you have, the possibility of getting it printed and getting it out there.
I got one of my young dudes working on doing one, but I have a basic one that I could share. And actually, those that signed up for the Nguza Saba Challenge, a copy of an old one is still back in August. But it's easy to update. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I want to use is use it for a fundraiser for what we do.
Right.
That's why we got it from you last year.
Right.
You would send it out.
Right.
Every month.
Right. But, like I said, life happens.
Right.
You know, and far as the media part of Gye-Nyame journey, I'm it. My fault. I got two other people that can help control the site up in this room. You know what I'm saying?
I understand when you say you're.
You understand? Like it's like you with the flyers. That's why I don't be like, why the flyer ain't here? I need to because
she waiting on me to send it to her.
And you send me the flyer.
I y'all have a clear understanding.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So because I understand because a lot of times we say we, but in actuality it's I or me that's making stuff happen. So
you're the wolf and the dog.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm running with a pack. I know what my pack is doing. So I know on Saturday, even though it was kind of late this Saturday, on Saturday that flyer's coming out. But what I tried to do is blast it out, but I didn't have it, so I wasn't able to blast that out. But I blasted out the piece. You know what I'm saying? So you're working as a pack. You know.
And I think Hatim is on to something. Because I've noticed since second Sunday up until now that when we begin to practice our own stuff using the days of the week as within the 7 principles, that even our thought process change.
That's right.
And you don't have nothing to do with it. But the only thing that you have to do with it is to begin practicing like the day is Friday, tomorrow will be Umoja. When you say the great emoji that you're going to be inside of the great emoji today, then your whole outlook changes on how you even go through the universe. You don't need no calendar. A calendar ain't gonna do nothing but sit on the wall or do something to you to keep you from thinking about what you need to be thinking about. And how you need to be reacting to Ujima and Kujichagulia. See, when I go to my altar every morning, I don't say on this, I say like this Umoja, this great Umoja day. Then I read the principle, and then when I step out in the universe, I begin to act like the principle. I act like the principle. I don't act like it's Monday, because Monday don't have no meaning. To us, Monday don't have no meaning. I thank you for that, brother.
Hatim and then Navita.
What? Did
You have your hand up? I saw you doing like this.
Oh no, I was talking.
Okay, Navita.
Well, I wanted to comment on the topic on the table about any improvements for Kwanzaa this year. And I would like to say that I enjoyed and I felt like I did was a pivotal part of the Kwanzaa this year, along with everybody that was on the panel. And I feel like it's kind of slapping my face to tell me I can't be a part of it this year because I'm not a part of Tawi after I put in the work and stuff last year.
That's right. Sure. Got quiet. Yeah, real quiet.
Well, because I don't think this is a place to go into a long-term discussion about that when we have other things on the agenda.
When you asked about the improvement or the recommendation, I recommend that I think it would be approved that I be a part of the Kwanzaa this year. That's my piece on that. And I don't hold anything against anyone personally because of it. I just think that, I feel like at the end of the day, it's about the community and what we bring into the community. And I think some things need to be set aside for the bigger picture for me. And I feel like I don't want, whatever the differences may be with some people, I know Tawi doesn't own Kwanzaa. No other group owns Kwanzaa. Anybody can do a Kwanzaa celebration. But I would like to see the community come together and do a big Kwanzaa celebration. I don't want to see, I'm not stopping them from doing it. And I would just like to see, because for me, it is about the community and the people. And that's why I would not, because if I don't want to, I just think we should try to work together, whether, you're not a member of Tawi or not. If you're able to contribute, you should be able to contribute. And
Go ahead.
And I feel that if it's not, I have no participation in helping at all. That's just for me. We put a lot into Kwanzaa. It was she did a great job, but some people sat back like it was, that they ain't put no work in. I invited people out and we did all this, and it was a group effort. We was moving as one doing that. But then you sit back and then you tell a person that they can't do this, they can't do that because they're not part of Tawi. But yet and still you take their donations, you take their everything else that you want. And you're not getting that off on me. You can't get it off on me. And so I have no participation. I help my brothers doing what they do. Malcolm X celebration, Marcus Garvey. I don't feel that the money that I get for the donations, that that we made sure it goes straight to y'all, that we have to sit up and ask about that money. Something that I got people giving up automatically. You can say that this ain't the time and place for it, but it's the time and place for me. Because I'm sitting up in here co-signing this, and people are coming in here because I'm here. So now you take it or leave it alone. So
That sounds like that was more of a gripe.
it's a gripe. It's a serious gripe. Huh? You gonna tell me or tell somebody else they putting in the work and you can't
Send it to you, Elder.
You can't do that?
Well,
You can't how can you do that? How can you do that and you ain't putting no work in? You collect it. Get the hell out of here with that.
Okay, so moving along. Okay.
Okay. There's an elephant in the room.
yes.
Yeah.
And we've been dancing
It's a
around.
big elephant.
It's a big
And we've
element.
been-
Is it on there?
Thank you,
Go
sister.
ahead. I'm gonna write it down.
and we've been dancing around this for 2 weeks. Two meetings. And we cannot have healing,
That's right.
and we cannot have healing if we attack each other. And I hear that. I don't really know the root of the problem, to be honest with you. But if we don't pause and address this elephant, everything else we're doing it's like for naught, because it's going to come up again every time
Every time.
this group of people.
That's right.
So
I'm here to make sure
well,
till it's resolved.
excuse me, brother.
I'm sorry, sister. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay, I apologize. For real.
My recommendation is that whatever the issue, whether this is the time or not, that we pause and deal with it once and for all. That's a recommendation. Take it or leave it, But because this, for me as a newcomer, this makes me really uncomfortable. All this negative energy and
What is
So- I'm sorry.
the elephant in the room is
No, she just said.
I don't know the issue, this issue about who can take part in Kwanzaa and who is going to drop out if this don't happen and whatever the whole thing is. It's
one right here.
I don't.
All I
What are some
know,
of the improvements for Kwanzaa
The question is, do
2019
you want to talk about?
on
this?
persons not in the village?
I'm asking her mama. Her mama. That's what I said, I'm
Persons not in
asking
the
her.
village. These are the five. This has come up 2 times.
I don't know.
Well, you can ask the Rubies if they wanted.
Here, discussing. We're discussing.
Because otherwise,
Okay.
people go
It's
on.
just ferment.
That's what I'm saying. Look, I mean,
It's been almost 3 daggone months,
the truth.
and I humbly ask that this matter be addressed so that we can
Thank you.
carry on with our business.
That's right.
3 months ago, and we're still talking about this matter.
Should I
Well, I'm sorry, it's still getting in the way.
Wait a minute, mama.
Did I pay everything except for these 2 things right here?
No, wait a minute, it's still.
Yes.
Isotute.
It's real, hey.
Hold on.
I think.
What happened? They having a secret meeting?
No.
No, look.
Oh my God.
He doesn't know.
I mean,
Something just happened.
no. Yeah, something just happened.
Oh my God.
Where the buck my yacht at? Who all left? Just the women?
Okay, just
Well, I'm the only one.
No, look, family.
we don't know what's happening, so
Sister
just don't
Isaac
speculate.
brought up something here.
That's right.
And those of us who are in here,
I respect
I
that.
don't know who attended the Waukesha meeting, but look, family,
For William Henry.
I want to lay down some ground rules should we discuss this.
Before you lay down the ground rules, let's make sure everybody hears. So
Yes, sir.
you know what I'm saying? Because
Well,
Right.
we'll deal with them when they get back. But for us in here, because, anyway, the point being is, number one, don't call any names because I don't understand, and each of us may have different understandings of what that name implies.
Lay down ground.
Rather than saying, calling somebody a name, just say what the action is that offends.
right.
Address it. And we're going to try to address this strictly on those emotional feelings that Brother Waukesha taught us. Sad, mad, and scared.
Right.
If somebody's sad about something, then what's the loss? If they're mad about something, what's the violation? Carry on.
Right. You got one more.
Okay.
One more. Sad, mad, scared.
If you're scared about
What's the
something,
danger?
what's the danger? And then those of us who spend some time with Waukesha and his writing, we will proceed from there on what actions we take to address.
Should we put that on up there, what you just said, the sad, bad skin, and then what the balance for that is? Okay, so you can do that, Mama.
What I need to take off?
I think,
Everything needs to.
I think,
Put it at the bottom. Okay, what should I put it
well, I
on?
don't think they can see the mouth.
I think you can erase all of that stuff.
We gotta get this
And,
over
and,
with.
and put that stuff up bold so everybody can see it. I mean, screenshot.
Okay,
well,
she's gonna put it out. What's
Because it ain't
the
gonna do
the
no
question was,
No, I need to erase
erase
it.
That's with everything.
Does anybody need to take a
yes,
picture of
we
it?
need to know.
Ooh, that's
Take a picture. Want to take a picture of this?
I got it.
While they're doing
Screenshot
that. Screenshot it.
Okay, and to add to, I'm sorry, to what Kwame said,
Okay.
let's go into this with an open mind. Because, in any conflict, not everybody is going to get what they want, but we can end up with a win-win. But you have to be open.
Gotta be open.
No.
We have to come into this with an open mind,
And an open heart.
an open heart.
Yeah, what is ground?
Crowd was no name called because
over there giggling and laughing. So dumb and shit.
when you speak aloud, phrase,
I can't join you.
if you're sad, mad, or
I don't say
scared,
nothing when you play.
Oh, good.
Why you keep playing the
Hello.
beat? That's my music. I'm gonna come to a people like, why you keep playing the
if you're
drum?
sad, mad, or scared, if you're sad, what's the loss? If you're mad, what's the violation? If you're scared, what's the danger?
Okay, hold on.
And then we proceed from, whatever it is. And of course, some of your emotions are so clear they may be a combination of those three. But either way, let's address it on that
You
basis
about to catch it.
rather than name calling or any such stuff
Welcome
like
to the
that.
fraternity.
You say name calling people names or calling their
I
name?
gotta go.
Calling them outside
Calling
the
out
beat.
of their name.
Right.
Now, hold on, I'm alone.
No attack on individual beings.
Attack the action and not the person.
R-E-D.
Oh, no, they're not.
If you're gonna attack the action, not the person.
Not the person.
First, where is, I don't know, he was left. First, I want to say, this is divine conversation.
The purpose of this meeting, I stated earlier, is to discuss what goes on during our Sabbath. This is an extension of that. That's what the purpose of this is divine conversation. At the very least, can we keep our conversation at a level that reflects Ma'at and the Aguza Sabra?
Yes. That's right.
Secondly, we have been talking about whatever occurred or what occurred at Kwanzaa.
After Kwanzaa.
Or after Kwanzaa.
Yeah, didn't
or
have a
during
door.
Kwanzaa.
Wait a minute, they got
Or around Kwanzaa.
Oh,
Or that involves Kwanzaa. Decisions have been made within Tawi.
Hold on a second.
And I think those decisions have been put out into the community. Decisions, Elder Darrell said who? Decisions have been made within Tawi as to how we're handling Kwanzaa this year. That information has gone out into the community. Right, as a part of what was planned, the planners from last year. That information went out. And we constantly, we keep bringing it back here because I think the decisions that were made, people don't like. But those decisions were made.
I want to know, how can you do Kwanzaa and be ahead of something and still, I'm gonna stay on this. How can you do that and you instill in me these principles that was put into me that changed my life? How can you instill that in me and I change my whole household, my family, everything, period? I don't knock what nobody does in their house, but how can you do that and still have pagan holidays and try to tell me something? How can you do that? You can't tell me nothing.
People might see that as my
I don't under. Okay.
But that really don't fit into the discussion that we're about to have. You know what I'm saying? So, because that's a whole nother piece. And then also, we throw Mayat around, we throw Nguza Saba around.
Right.
What happens when you got to kill somebody?
You got what? Kill somebody.
What happens
Take their
when,
life.
is that Mayat? Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I mean, because when you have to make a rough decision, is Mayat involved in that?
Sure.
Ma'at from an answer. When Ma'at became a part, when we had the Septepi, Ma'at is a part of everything.
Okay.
It's not something. Ma'at is a part of everything. Ma'at is your life.
Right. Right. So it encompasses everything.
It encompasses
Cool.
everything.
So I want to make sure we understand that. So Mayat even encompasses conflict. Because when Mayat is violated, she sends out Herakuti.
Because you're always trying to bring something back in balance.
Right.
Always trying to bring something back into harmony.
Right.
Because things get out of balance and things are not harmonious.
Yeah,
So you're always trying to come back to that balance.
To that balance.
But the issue or the point that what he's making is that sometimes bringing everything back does not occur just from being peaceful.
Right.
Right. I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
No, it ain't what I'm not addressing what you said. I'm just bringing up that fact. You know what I'm saying? Because and I want people to understand. Like she said, I'm speaking generality. I just want to make sure that when we talk about Mayat, because it ain't just in this room, when we talk about Mayat, we got to talk about the whole of Mayat.
That's right.
But it's all of life. It is it's everything. Okay. I mean, that's how it wasn't in Kemet, it wasn't a Sunday morning thing.
It was every day.
It was every day. It is how they lived. And you are constantly trying to bring yourself in balance. You are constantly looking for nature to see how harmony was established. It's constant. It's always. But all I'm saying, the purpose of this fourth Sunday is divine conversation relating to what we did on second Sunday.
Right.
And that's the purpose.
Right.
And I don't know how else to say it. That is what we are supposed to be about today.
How can you have divine conversation and the elephant is in the room? How can you have that? Peace has to come, but by peace means that things need to be dealt with. There's nobody in here I hate. There's nobody in here I won't kill behind. But I will say what I have to say. I'm a warrior. I'm not in here playing no games. I'm on the front line every day of my life, practicing my art where people can see me change. So I'm just saying is that
if a decision is not what you like,
it's not about me. It's about the group. It's about the group.
If
It's
a
not about me.
decision
It's not about me. It's about the group. No, I'm not going to let her finish because you're going to put it on me.
Well, like we said, do we need to have another session, or how long do we want to take
Stay
this
on this.
no.
Kwame put on the table that
Well, he raised his hand.
that we discussed the issue. I think that's what the Institute said.
Right.
So now what are we doing? We just skirting all that and
Wait.
go back to
Because also, after you get done, Kwame had his hand up as well. So, we need to make sure we get him. But go ahead, Elder. I'm sorry.
No, all I'm saying is
Elder Durrell, the only thing I would say to you is what it will be the outcome, because I don't know that we can come to resolution. I don't know that there's the appropriate village folks here to come to resolution. And I'm not here for just going back and forth, hashing over stuff we've been hashing over for 3 months. This is not the time or place for that, Elder Durrell. So I respectfully ask for you not to encourage back and forth. And it's not necessarily, this is not the time or place. What's the outcome, Elder? What's going to be the outcome? Because it's going to be a back and forth. Yeah, come on with it.
Everybody's tense. I don't even think we know exactly what we're talking about.
Come on.
We don't. That's what the problem is.
So then why even have the discussion? That's my point. Why is we going through this?
For clarity, for something.
There's no need for clarity.
No, that's not your decision to make, Jill.
Clarity on what, Elder? Clarity on what?
Around the table want to know what's going on,
Right?
So that they can at least make a decision on
Okay,
how
they can ask.
feel about the thing.
Let them ask their questions so they can get their clarity, so we can stay focused on what we're here for.
Do you have a comment?
Yeah. Fed is necessary.
Family's upset.
It's just not supposed to be in the ruling position. Having said that,
I'm sorry, could you say that again, please?
I said Fed is necessary.
That's right.
She don't know who Isfet is.
Thank you.
Disorder.
Okay.
Disorder.
Thank you.
Just not in the place ruling. Having said that, look, we have nation builders who have put in some serious work. And for an outsider looking in, I see my family falling apart, and I don't know why.
I don't know.
So these things that evidently you guys have discussed and handled, I keep seeing my family falling apart.
Well, all families do. We just are dysfunctional in this.
Look, bro. Look. I mean, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I don't understand.
Give a brief overview, Kwame, please.
Yeah, it is falling apart. I don't understand. It's just, I don't know.
Can I just give what I perceive as an overview?
Yes.
And what
Elder has the floor.
The presiding elder got the floor for Tawee, so that's what we need to listen. That's what we need to be listening to right now.
There you go.
Good thing.
Kwanzaa was wonderful. Let me start out by saying that way. Very, very good. And everybody loved it. I had comments from all kinds of people who loved what happened. There was some after